In ancient Middle Eastern culture, a family could be sued in a local court and financially ruined forever just for running out of wine at a wedding. Why would the creator of the universe use his ultimate supernatural power just to settle a civil liability and save a family from public shame? I often think we over-spiritualize this famous event and completely ignore the raw human terror happening behind the scenes. Not long ago, I organized a major event where the main system crashed in the first 5 minutes, and that cold feeling of standing alone under judgment is something I will never forget. I used to wonder if Jesus cared more about social status than doing actual ministry. Why did he not heal a blind person right then and there to prove his identity instead of fixing a catering crisis? Could it be that we have missed a much bigger secret hidden in this small town? To understand the sheer panic in that room, you have to look at the 6 stone jars standing against the wall. Each of these massive containers held between 20 and 30 gallons of water, meant strictly for religious purification. This water was not for drinking. It was what people used to wash the dirt and dust off their feet after walking the long roads. Think about hosting your own wedding today at a beautiful venue with your family and your boss in attendance. Then, right as the main course is served, the staff announces there is absolutely no food or drink left, and you hear the guests starting to whisper. There is a brutal poetic irony in Jesus choosing to use the exact water meant for feet to create the finest wine anyone had ever tasted. I spent years of my life trying to maintain a perfect outward appearance to satisfy the rigid expectations of everyone around me. It felt completely suffocating to live behind a clean mask while feeling entirely empty on the inside. But why did he demand those 6 specific ceremonial jars instead of just creating wine out of thin air? Perhaps he wanted to take the very tools people used to judge and clean each other and turn them into a source of ultimate joy. The most shocking part of this entire event is not what Jesus did, but how completely hidden he chose to remain. The master of the feast tasted the miraculous drink and praised the bridegroom, but he had absolutely no idea where it came from. A crowd of hundreds of people drank and celebrated and laughed while remaining totally blind to the cosmic power working right beside them. I am convinced that true strength never needs a standing ovation because the most life-altering moments usually happen in absolute silence. There was a time in my own career when I hit rock bottom, and the help that saved my life came from an anonymous person who asked for nothing in return. But if this was supposed to be his grand debut as the Messiah, why would he pull off his first miracle like a thief in the night? What is the point of revealing your divinity if you are going to intentionally hide it from the very crowd you came to save? The truth is, he was rejecting the superficial marketing tactics of the world to establish a completely different definition of value. When Mary approached Jesus about the missing wine, his immediate response seemed to push her away. He looked at his own mother and said his hour had not yet come, which sounds incredibly cold on the surface. But he was actually drawing a sharp line between human pressure and divine timing. Mary represented the heavy burden of family expectations and the constant demand to perform for the approval of others. This subtle exchange is the exact key we need to liberate ourselves from the exhausting trap of people-pleasing. I remember the intense anxiety of standing before my family when I chose a career path they considered completely foolish. They kept asking when I would finally achieve something visible while I was just trying to survive the silent structural changes of my life. Jesus refused to let the urgent crisis of a family reputation dictate when and how he would reveal his true identity. The chemical transformation of that washing water into premier wine was a declaration that our worth is not manufactured by social status. But if you look closely at the very end of the event, you will notice the most profound detail of all. The wealthy guests and religious leaders tasted the final product, but only the lowliest servants in the kitchen knew the real secret. He intentionally chose the invisible outcasts of that society to be the first eyewitnesses of his true glory. The ultimate twist of this first miracle is that Jesus did not step in to save a human reputation. He was establishing a revolutionary kingdom where your identity is no longer defined by your public success or your social failures. He proved that the dark, heavy shame of falling short can be transformed into absolute joy in the quietest way possible. He does not need a massive stage or a loud celebration to fix the deep, hidden emptiness of your life. If this perspective helped you see the first miracle in a brand new light, please hit the subscribe button and join our community. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.